I see you learn something every day. So this was probably one of the more obvious things to set up that's kind of just flown under the radar for years. That was actually far easier to do than I thought this whole time. So likely that's going to be my new setup for Skull Knight on stage 1 of CV3. Likely I'll do that from now on. Because I used to do this. It's had its own shortfallings. This had its own drawbacks, so it was always possible to accidentally just turn a left before you actually stop the screen scrolling. Just to show off some new strategies. Or maybe accidentally toss the holy water backwards. Or have the Skull Knight hit you before you get all your holy waters off and just slightly slow down your kill. Or, like, he just hits you, walks into you before he dies from the holy water. So yeah, that old setup had all these shortcomings. Once you get the movements consistent on that setup, then you can pretty much eliminate all those other drawbacks, plus I think it's slightly faster as well. Even though it probably won't make much of a time difference, it's definitely going to be nice to have this in if it's just going to shave off a couple more frames. Yeah, just to show off some of the tricks, I could maybe try and get into an Alucard run if I really feel like it. Though I don't know when I'm going back to this. I don't know if I'd be more likely to just pick up Sypha route again first. Because I spent way more time with Alucard than with Sypha, that's for damn sure. And it's not like I'd actually be taking the world record from somebody if I was still running Alucard. I still have that record. That's even less likely to happen. It's probably either going to be more Alucard or more Sypha. I never really found any other way to optimize anything in Stage 5. Can't really think of much to do in Stages 3 or 4 either. Those are pretty much almost 100% solved at this point. So I also did try something in 5-7. So I'm just gonna not hit the first two bones. Notice how there's no lag, except you can't notice anymore, I just died. So I tried this in practice, but I didn't really get anything out of it. I wanted to see what the fight would be like if I just did not hit these first two bones. But the problem is, this Skull Knight King walks left, and he doesn't really lose health quickly enough until he's standing directly on top of you. And then it just kind of gets hard to actually hit him and not have him kill you. Yeah, if you stand on your left, he pretty quickly just matches your position before your holy water kills him. Yeah, I know, but that's kind of an afterthought for the most part. It's a pretty minor category, it's not even an official one. Yeah, but there's no very easy way to set this up in such a way that you can easily kill the guy by standing on the left side. And also just not hitting the bones, because the whole point is to just not get the first two bones hit. Because if you can do that, then no additional bones will spawn, and that'll just mean less lag. So I did actually just compare it both ways, and actually killing the boss from this side with Trevor isn't any faster. That or, like, the time difference is negligible. It's really that small. So that theory didn't really lead to anything. Except for maybe killing that boss with Alucard in the future if, somehow, against all odds, Bolt Cancel becomes real-time viable. But I've seen the inputs on that. Well, no, but I'd still probably prefer running either Sypha or Alucard over that, considering Stage 7 has a screen that makes you wait for 2 minutes. So I actually did look at the inputs for a Bolt Cancel during a task earlier, so just picture this with me. So the inputs are literally one frame after the other, so 1/60th of a second after the other. So, like, on 1/60th of a second, you're pressing down. And then you actually have to release that button as well, I think. I'm actually going to go and look at the tasks. I'm going to go look at the inputs. I have to get FCEUX open quickly to actually go and see this. So where did I leave FCEUX? Which is some other emulator for NES. Where did I leave it? I'm trying to remember if you literally just have to have down held for 60th of a second. I think that was the case. Yeah, if I get the inputs on screen so you can see them, then I think I should be able to drive home the point as to how unlikely bolt cancel will happen in real time. Movie. I think I need to get the Japanese version of the game opened up for this to work. Because I looked at a tool-assisted run of the Japanese version of the game, so I need a Japanese version of the game. Akumajo Densetsu. Now I gotta remember where I put that movie. So I'm gonna go into Tools. Where's the task editor? I'm just gonna find inputs that look like the bolt cancel. Just so you have some sort of idea as to like what we're talking about here. So I'm in the task editor right now. Once I get a good sample of what's happening, I'm just going to take a print screen. See, it's A to jump, B to attack. So I gotta find a bunch of like B down presses for reference. So I'm going to find a good example of bolt cancel being used in the inputs and just show you what it looks like quickly. Just so you know like what I managed to find. Still looking through these inputs. Yeah, I thought I would have found some by now. Okay, there's apparently a sequence where L and R are just being pressed every other frame. I don't know what that's for. Doesn't sound very realistic to press, like, alternate between two buttons every single 60th of a second because a frame is, like, 60 seconds. No, like, a frame is a 60th of a second. What am I saying? Okay, I think I found a sample of what these inputs look like. So, Control-Alt, I'm gonna print screen that right now. Just get it up on screen so you can actually see it. So yeah, hold on, I'm taking a print screen. Right, so yeah. Now I gotta just save this. Probably during an auto-scroll or after a boss. Waiting for an orb to appear. Yeah. That is definitely my best guess as to what... That's definitely my bet, for sure. Yeah, safe to say that's also my bet. So, tasks. Let's get this on screen so you guys can see. So these are inputs from this Alucard tool assisted speedrun. I don't remember the guy's name because it's hard to actually remember. Had a bunch of random letters in it, so that's probably why. I couldn't remember how to pronounce it, so... Should be able to find it, I hope. Alucard path. And the first result I see is the Cypher path, fuck's sake. Okay, how about videos on YouTube? I might have better luck finding it then. Okay, I found it. Tool-assisted Alucard path by ZGGZDYDP, or Zigzdid, however you pronounce that, in 2447. And yes, there was a download to the input file. There was a download to like all the lists of inputs that were done during that tool-assisted run. It was built like literally frame by frame. Every input was put down frame by frame to create like the theoretical perfect run. So So you are alternating between pressing down and B every frame. I think these inputs literally have to be frame perfect for this to work. So we're starting with a down input, holding it down for exactly a 60th of a second, and then on the next 60th of a second, you're pressing the attack button, specifically for that 60th of a second, and then immediately after, you're pressing down for another frame, releasing it, and then pressing B for another frame, releasing that, and then pressing down for another frame. You get the idea. These inputs are literally like all one frame apart. This is why I just believe that this isn't necessarily going to be real-time viable. This is why I just say it's going to be extremely unlikely we see this happening in real time anytime soon. The inputs are literally a frame apart. How would you actually feasibly press that stuff down in real time to actually make those inputs? Like, how can a human being press those? They're literally like frames apart, those inputs. Like, it's down B, one frame apart, down B, one frame apart. Like, how do you do that? Like, I don't see that happening, but crazier things have happened. I could be proven wrong. It might not even be like 23x. We might still be in the 2020s and I could be proven wrong. But I don't picture it happening, but I could be wrong on this. I don't think I will be. I think I'm pretty confident that that's not going to be possible to do in real time. Inputs are literally frames apart each. You literally just have to press down for like a single frame, and then press it down for another single frame 2 frames later, and then in between that, you're pressing down the attack button for another frame. Yeah. Just feels like too much of a stretch to actually see that happen in real time. So I'm not expecting bolt cancel to be a thing anytime soon. So I'll have to expect other things instead that actually make more sense to try and get in real time. So I'm trying to get that right pixel to stand on. Because it seems like if I stand on one of 2 pixels to start the Frankenstein fight off, I'm going to get some double hits, which will enable me to kill him faster. But on this pixel, if I'm standing here and I take a boost, it pushes me left. And I'd prefer to not stand directly on top of Frankenstein, since in a best case scenario, with a fastest possible run, I'm coming in here on pretty limited health. So picture this but having even like less health. I'd have only 7 bars of health in an ideal scenario. So I'd be better off not standing there. Got the wrong spot again. I want to be standing here ideally. Because if I'm to get hit by a falling rock, it pushes me backwards. I'm not on top of Frankenstein in that case. Then it's easier to just continue just landing hits without having to worry about getting hit yourself, because you're going to likely get here on very limited health. With the strategies I know of, you're getting here on very limited health, so yeah, it's just gotta be the way it's gotta be. And of course, I'll have to get good at all that again. Of course, that can always be a problem yet again. I'd have so much to relearn, so I don't know if I want to straight away. There'd be so much to pick back up and take in again. So yeah, this is the amount of health I'd normally come into the fight with if I was just going for the fastest possible stage 6 I know of. And it would be very easy to actually die to Frankenstein like this. Unless you would go explicitly out of your way to dodge a bunch of his attacks, so it would be very easy to just die to him. Very, very easy to die to him. Not likely anytime soon, but I'm probably not the only person in the world who wants to see a 25-3x on this. Just trying to assess the likelihood it's actually going to happen. Just trying to imagine what's going to have to go into a run to even make it possibly have a chance at getting a 25-3x. Like, what has to happen for it to even have a shot at it? was my sum of best. Because I was playing Zelda 2 at the beginning of the stream. Saw like an old viewer return. I brought up Castlevania 3 with them. Yeah, that's going to be a problem, potentially, not running out of health during Frank. So I brought up Castlevania 3 with an old viewer of mine, and then also brought up some of the new strategies I was looking into. Some new, some that were actually out there for years, but just didn't think of them until now. But even then, there's not really that much to talk about, sadly. Like, I don't know what else we're going to possibly find here. So there I took only 2 hits. I would survive in that case scenario. And then of course there's still everything else to worry about. This ceiling clip. This bat. And then I held off on the jump tapping because it's fairly easy to mess up. And if you mess it up enough times with jump tapping, then the blocks can have their way with you here. Then the blocks can give you trouble. So I'll try some more jump tapping on this screen, just so I can get a better feel for it. Because there's another part in the run I'm considering working this into it. And it's possible to jump tap even faster, to skip that falling block right there I'd otherwise have to wait on, or just get hit by. But your jump tapping would have to be pretty much perfect to pull that off. And then sometimes, if you want to just try and play that screen out as fast as possible, you might be left at the mercy of those birds if you want to jump straight up and not left. Yeah, there might be so much that would have to go into a run to even have a shot at getting a 25-3x. And even then, I don't think I'll be fast enough to outrace that block. I'm pretty sure I wasn't fast enough on that. It has to be, like, perfect, and that wasn't perfect. And there a bird hit me, so that would, in the ideal case, make Mummy jump inviolable. If I just take an extra hit on a bird. And that's just a little bit more time I'd be able to just take back for myself if I get a Mummy jump. Because that just removes a neutral whip input right there doing that. And there's a way to set it up that also removes a jump from what you have to do as well. That shaves off like another couple frames. Oh, so it's starting pretty early for you. What, it starts in the middle of the week? Oh, that's odd. Starting at the middle of the week, that's a little odd, I must say. So that's what the ideal Mummy jump looks like right there. And this is roughly the amount of health I would have, maybe 1 bar less, but considering most of the hits do like damage in increments of 3, it doesn't really matter if I have a bar less. So I'd have roughly this health going into the Cyclops fight, ideally. So if I can set this up, watch this. If I get this. Which I got. No, I died! Almost had it. That is a faster Cyclops kill, assuming you don't die in the process, or the Cyclops just wanders off somewhere, because yes, we're talking about the Cyclops here, he's still random to some extent. Unfortunately, there's still nothing we can really do about the randomness of the Cyclops. Yeah, like, he can always just do that if he wants. Okay, he got me again. I didn't think he was going to. Didn't think he'd get me a second time. I'm gonna keep on trying that little strat until I just pull it off. Once I get the good manipulation with the Cyclops, should be able to get it. That's not the fastest Cyclops kill I'm capable of, still. That's not the fastest one. Can we see the fastest one, please? Oh, it's always been like that? Can we see the fastest Cyclops kill? I mean, I have people waiting on it. I mean, I have people who probably want to see this. So stop making me wait on it. Again, I have people who probably want to see this now. We would never start on a Monday. Because everyone hates Mondays, right? I wasn't ready that time. I was not ready. I didn't think he was actually going to do it that time, so I wasn't ready. So, yeah. That's almost a whole second faster than killing him on the left side of the screen. Yeah, but you typically don't. Yeah, it's the norm for you to usually not start on the Monday, from what you're telling me. Yeah, it was just definitely a lot simpler to kill this guy on the left side of the screen. You'd have more time to actually see what's coming. But it's almost a second slower. When? I have no idea. You know, honestly, I have no clue. Right now, I'm just going over a bunch of the alternate strategies that are possible. And if you're too close to the Cyclops setting up a right-hand side kill, he's just gonna hammer you, and that's not good either. That's also bad. It's a bad bootleg game, so you're kind of in the right area, Physicist. Oh, he hammered me again. What is this? Okay, I'm gonna try and set this up one more time. I want to get it, see if I can get an even cleaner setup with that kill there. But yeah, Cyclops just typically does whatever he wants, so that's a pretty big problem right there. Yeah, I said bootleg. I was right on that. Yeah, it's a bootleg. So yeah, that's about the best Cyclops kill that's possible, but Cyclops still can just literally go do whatever he wants, which is less than ideal. So that's not 100%, unfortunately. It's either that or Chinese, I don't remember which. What's so special about the Russian bootlegs anyways? And of course there's the death fight. I was just spending quite a bit of time when I was going for that 25-45 trying to find the secret to peak death performance. I was just spending quite a bit of time trying to find the secret to the fastest possible death kills. Because that would also just go like a long ways if I could crack the code on that. That would also go a long way just to consistently make that death kill as fast as possible. That would be up to another second I could just take back there as well, which would be pretty big. Especially considering I'm looking at quite a few time saves, and if I can add them all up together, it could be just enough to get past the 40 barrier. Oh, and it continues in stage 9-2. It continues into 9-2. So this is what everyone else has been doing for a while now. Yeah, that's been the fastest setup for that screen for a while, but you can go faster. You can go even faster than that, but it's probably going to take me quite a few tries to actually successfully nail this. Yeah, they just ripped music from Merv Griffin, apparently. Yeah, too often I just come up a bit short and just fall in the hole. Too often I just come up short when I'm trying to set that up, so yeah, that's not easy to actually land. Again, just came up like a pixel short or so. One pixel further to the right and that would have been good. So yeah, you just run the risk of having that happen if you come up short a pixel to the right. That was definitely not the optimal way to get it. I was supposed to hit the fireball to get the post-hit invincibility off of that, and just turn back to human form at the same time, but that didn't happen, clearly. I told you this was going to take a few tries. I think I got it. I got it. Yeah, I got it there. Nice. So that is 0.8 seconds faster than doing it the easier way. Plus, there's another alternative to jump tapping on that screen, where you just jump tap for half the screen. And even then, that still gets you a bit of time back if you do it right. You still gain back a bit of time if you jump tap correctly for like half the screen, but I actually counted it all three ways. Jump tapping half that screen gets you 0.3 of a second over just not jump tapping there at all. Jump tapping the entire screen, 0.8 seconds faster. But you have to do extremely precise flying to land in a fireball in just the right way so you hit the ledge and don't just fall off it. But colliding perfectly into that bone pillar fireball is going to be absolute murder. And if you just know what comes before that, it gets even worse. It gets even worse when you consider everything else literally that comes before that. Including, of course, this coin flip you have to win prior. And also a death fight that's very easy to choke. And just like that, I already lost the coin flip, so you should have the idea as to how bad this would be to try to actually do in a real run. Unless you got even more consistent at it. So that right there might be the most intimidating time save there is in the Alucard route by far. That's easily the most intimidating time save we have by far right here. And I barely got it. 1 pixel further off to the left and I would have for sure missed. And I just hit the axe with my head by accident. I probably will be more careful to not do that most likely on a good pace. So yeah, jump tapping like half the screen is also a valid option and still gets you a bit of frames over just not jump tapping at all. Of course, you have to make sure you don't hit any random projectiles or you're going to lose a bunch more time than what you could otherwise gain back. Yeah, and Bayes thought grinding this out was a nightmare before it got below like the 2610. And he thought it was a nightmare before these tricks started to just come up to the surface. It could get even worse than what Bayes was thinking about earlier. It can get so much worse, the grind. It can literally get soul-crushing at this point. Yeah, imagine just doing runs over and over again to even have a shot at that jump tapping. Which is incredibly easy to mess up. And not just that, you not only have to have a run that's good enough, skill-wise, to get to that point, the RNG also has to be there, because if it's not, then the Axe Armor in 8-2 makes you lose at least 3 seconds. And then there's another potential time save, but you would either need a 6 Heart Drac 2 kill, or you need good RNG for this to go through. So the candle behind me. Okay, I'm supposed to hit that bird. So normally we do this. To grab that heart, and also step back a pixel or two to actually pick it up. Plus there's also a neutral whip input in there. Now let me do that correctly. I'm supposed to do that correctly, why am I not doing it correctly? I shouldn't be that damn rusty. Like I said, I shouldn't be too rusty. Should still know how to do this correctly. So, yeah, you can get time back if you just go and do this without picking up the heart behind you. I'll just get the timer back up so I can actually compare them side by side. So yeah, you can skip this heart and just hope that you actually get a lucky heart drop before you get to Dracula's room. And yes, this would be pretty much very random again. The heart shows up based on what frame you kill the enemy, but of course, how are you gonna just know exactly what 60th of a second you're killing an enemy, so it's gonna probably be about as random as it can be still. So just trying to hit the right 60th of a second unless you're just using tools to manipulate time itself. It's gonna be easier said than done. So let me just go and time it both ways now quickly. Just so we know what we're actually looking at here. So I'm gonna be trying to skip another heart. Because that's possible if you really want to go for it, if you're that crazy. Let's pretend I actually got that. Let's pretend I got it. That would get me about 3/4 of a second, because I think that's roughly how long it takes to do, like, one neutral whip input. I would cut that out of the run. And then I have to rely on a heart drop for this to work out. To get not even a second out of it. Oh, that's gonna get really bad, the grind. It could get really, really bad, the grind. It could get horrible. Like, the grind could get seriously ugly. I don't know, like, exactly what frame you need to get a heart drop, but you'll have a very limited number of chances to actually get yourself this heart drop. And you also don't want to get hit by accident trying to pick it up either. Because with Alucard, obviously killing the Medusas is a tougher challenge. And you don't want to get hit too many times, otherwise that just makes throwing a lost cause anyways. And you don't also want to fall behind with the scrolling either. Nor cause too much lag in the first half of the scrolling. Considering this is at the end of a run, especially, yeah, you could say that. I got 2 heart drops, though, taking this strategy, so I'm gonna play this out in its entirety and just see how the Dracula fight goes for old time's sake. You could also leave out a jump input if you get an extra heart drop on top of the one you need to still make ends meet. So if you get 2 lucky heart drops, you can also just cut out a jump input there as well, and gain back a very small amount of time. Which I could have done but didn't do, so oh well. And then of course, you have to do the Dracula fight properly. Of course you have to get the proper Dracula fight. On top of everything else, still. Well, so did O Ninja Negro in its original incarnation. Yeah, just trying to imagine how much would have to go into a run to even have a shot at a 39. And that almost didn't even work out either. That, or you would have to do a 6-heart Drac 2. So yeah, Dracula's second phase, which would be that. You'd have to use up only 6 hearts to kill all the heads, as opposed to 7, which I'm used to doing. And I had to see, like, if the 6-heart kill is a bit slower than the 7-heart kill. So there's also that to take into consideration. Are you gonna gain time back and then just lose it anyways by doing a 6-heart Drac 2? So how long have I been just showing off these alternative possible strats in CV3? I think I've been on for like 30 minutes just talking about this. Maybe even longer. Maybe even closer to a whole hour. Yeah, if I really want to, I can talk and talk, but most of the time I don't. So just so you know, like, what's possible, technically. But who's going to want to go for it? Especially considering what else lies in the run, who's going to want to go for it? Like, who else would go for it, considering... I hope you didn't forget these guys. Hope you didn't forget the owls. Hope you didn't forget this. No, this is Castlevania III Dracula's Curse. Yeah, who's gonna want to have to go through all this again? For even a marginal chance at a sub 2540. Unless even more small tricks are found throughout the run, but it's getting harder and harder to find things as we go along. And then, of course, how can anyone forget this? How can anyone possibly forget this here? And even if you pass that, let's just say I didn't get the watch drop. Let's say that didn't appear. Then you still have to worry about getting the wrong sub-weapon even after the Owl and Frog RNG. Then sub-weapon RNG might still be a thing. So you just have to hope you don't hit the sub-weapon by accident. Still. Like, you still wouldn't be home free. Like, this grind could really get that much worse if you wanted it to. Like, it could get so much worse, the grind. But it could lead to a run that's going to be next to unbeatable, so I don't know. It would possibly be like the greatest Castlevania 3 run ever performed if it all actually was pulled off, but the likelihood of it all actually being pulled off, I don't know the exact number, but it's probably very close to like 0%. Probably very low odds, but technically possible. Odds would probably be staggeringly low if this all just happens, though. Let's say if this was ever attempted to get, like, the sub 2540, which is technically possible, but barely so. Let's say if it was attempted. The best thing you could really do, anyone who is attempting this, the best thing they could do is just become consistent at everything that isn't RNG dependent. The best you could do is just give yourself as many chances as possible at the RNG-based stuff. And also the harder tricks. The only thing you would be able to do is just give yourself as many chances as possible at the harder tricks. And the RNG. I'm not even trying to do this as fast as possible. So yeah, I'm gonna end the stream here. Don't know when I'll actually pick up Castlevania 3 for serious. And even then, I don't know if I'd pick up CV3 for more Alucard or for Sypha instead. Because it would be pretty interesting to try and get that Sypha world record back. Because I don't currently have that, Kutsushita does.